Oh, no.
Now.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Morning, Facebook.
Morning, Facebook. They're giving me a hard time. Not happy.
You deserve it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Hour Networking, hosted by Gareth James of Clockwork Eye.
Morning, everybody. I'm Gareth from Clockwork Eye, who specializes in video marketing, video production, and video training, and I have magic glasses. And the joke got a laugh last time, but this time it's just shit.
And myself, Gareth Bottomley from Auto Fleet Services, and I deal with short and long-term vehicle leases. We're going to have some 60-second introductions. We're then going to have a 10-minute conversation point. Then we're going to get into some breakout rooms and really get to know each other and find out more about what each of us do. So we're going to start. I'm going to work from my screen from right to left. We're going to start this morning with Steve Cooper and followed by Jerry.
Right. Good morning, everyone. If pensions and social care is a major issue, I've got another one for you, mainly because it's of interest to me. Virgin Money Giving provided gift aid and fundraising facilities, mainly because they were the main sponsors of the London Virgin or the Virgin London Marathon. That contract expires this year. So what have Virgin Money Giving done? They've pulled the plug on Virgin Money Giving. They shut down this November. So if you're using them for any kind of fundraising, you need to find somebody new. We are in the process of switching to Just Giving. They're more expensive, but they do have a basic free version. We're going to see how that works before we stump up money. So, 10 seconds to go. Thank you very much. Speak to you all later, no doubt.
Thanks, Steve. Jerry, followed by Tony Rondo.
Hi, I'm Jerry. Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. I have Stability 4C. It's a service for anybody who's going through the family law system, the court system, divorce, whether it's public law, civil law, whatever it is. If you're going through a divorce or a separation, the main thing is the children, and that's what the organization is about. We also have a charity that does exactly the same thing, but it's exclusively for people with learning difficulties and low IQ. And the only difference being, as regards services, is that the charity provides a volunteer. But as for the company, anybody who's self-litigating or representing themselves, it's the ideal service for them because we can provide all the reports and assessments they need. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Tony, followed by Lindsay.
Morning, everyone. Teddy Redondo, Cosmos Currency Exchange. We help clients save time and money on their bank account to bank account currency exchange transfers. We have access to all the various localized banking channels. So the faster payment network in the UK, the European equivalent SEPA, the North American equivalent of ACH, and the global SWIFT. And I mention that because it's becoming increasingly important with banking costs going around the world. So we can help clients save money and time with their banking costs as well as the actual rate of exchange. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony. Lindsay's going to be followed by Pamela.
Good morning, everyone. Lindsay from UW here, and I help people to bring in an additional income stream alongside what they currently do. We have just launched our festive incentive. So for anybody that would like their Christmas dinner all paid for, delivered, not cooked, but paid for and delivered to your house, all you need to do is introduce a few customers, and you can have your Christmas dinner and a lovely big luxury hamper delivered to your door. And these things are absolutely amazing. So if you fancy having Christmas dinner for free and inviting around all your family, then just get in touch and we shall have a chat.
Brilliant.
Or if you want to donate it to charity, because one of my team last year actually donated it to a homeless family a family who'd just been made homeless. So they had their lovely Christmas dinner delivered.
I'll introduce you to,
wasn't from Yorkshire.
Lindsay, I'll introduce you to Gareth, Jen, Tony, Steve, Jerry, Pamela, Steve and Tony. There you go.
You'll have more than enough for a Christmas dinner and luxury hamper there, Gareth.
I bet that client wasn't from Yorkshire.
No, they were from Darlington.
Yeah, cool Christmas dinner, wouldn't it?
Hartlepool. Sorry, Hartlepool.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lindsay. So Pamela, followed by Steve Long.
Morning, everybody. I'm Pamela. I run Social Media Solutions, and we specialise in social media consultancy, training and coaching. Our motto is strategy and consistency equals visibility and sales. But what I'm going to talk to you about this morning is there's just 2 weeks to go until the art of self-promotion is back in the room. No hybrid, nothing like that. We're going to actually be in the room at the gorgeous Yorkshire Sculpture Park for a day-long training session, which will see you walk away with an outline of a social media strategy, a content plan, and a template and some ideas for your PR, so you can get some free marketing on the back of it. We work with clients across all industries, so we've had people there that have run theatre productions, taken them up to the Edinburgh Fringe, accountants, sort of more craft-based people, somebody who makes furniture. It's fit for all different types of businesses. It's only a small group of people, but we have got a couple of seats left. So if anybody wants to know any more about it, I will put a link in the chat or get in touch with me. So that's Pamela from Social Media Solutions. Thank you.
Thanks, Pamela. Stephen, followed by Jen.
Morning, everybody. Steve Long from Yorkshire Rose. We're an independent whole of market financial services company regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. First thing I have to do when I see a new client is to make sure their protection needs are taken care of, which given the times we're living in is very, very important. We also look at critical illness cover, income protection, and a policy called family income benefit. We also look at pension consolidation to get all of your pension pots into one pot with better performance and lower charges. And we also make sure that you have enough income in retirement through your investment and pension savings. And at the end of the road, we look at inheritance tax planning to make sure that none of your estate, mum and dad's or grandma and granddad's, doesn't go to the Inland Revenue. And all life policies we write are written in trust, so they pay out straight away. And as Tony will tell you, you don't have to wait for your estate to be proven. So that's Steve Long from Yorkshire Rose. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. And Jen, followed by Mr. Carter.
Morning, my name is Jen. I'm the director at Aspiden, which is a not-for-profit organisation. We specialise in autism and neurodiversity training and consultancy. We work with both medium to large businesses and individuals, right down to families affected by autism and children. So all profit from the training goes towards our help with helping long-term disadvantaged, unemployed autistic adults move towards finding meaningful employment and living more fulfilled lives. I have some training for legal professionals on the 22nd of September. Like Pamela, it's in person, so I'm just trying to advertise those at the moment. So if you know any lawyers, please let me know and I will give you some information, hopefully that you can share with them. Thanks for the referral, Tony, last week. Yep, that's me. Jen, nice to see you all and talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Jen. And finally, Tony.
Good morning. Isn't it nice that as we've gone through COVID and things are getting back to normal, the death rate now is the same as it was before COVID started, which is 100%. Happens to everybody. People have wills and stuff in place. You were asleep there, Gareth, for a while. But actually, also important is lasting powers of attorney, which everybody thinks is for the elder. But there's an obituary in the paper this morning about a French footballer. He went into hospital at the age, I think it was 32, for a routine operation on a ligament.
Yeah.
Something went slightly wrong. It's worth reading. It's an appalling state of affairs. He's been in a coma for 40 odd years and he died this week. And his wife has been looking after him for 40 years at home and didn't switch him off. Accidents and horrors can happen to anybody at any time. People should have lasting powers of attorney in place. They are totally necessary. They look after the person while they're here. So as Tony at the Legacy Studio, your friends should see me before they go. I bet you're glad you left that to the end.
That was cheery again. Yeah. I'll not make that mistake again. I'll always put you first now. Thanks, Tony. Mr. James, you want to talk about national insurance?
Well, I don't want to talk about national insurance, but rather the
we can always talk about your
health and social care tax rise.
The social care tax rise.
The health and social care tax rise. Is anybody up to speed with this and au fait with this at all? All I heard on the news was national insurance increase, just another way to tax us, and Boris has gone back on his word of not raising taxes. Anybody au fait on this at all? Got any more information?
Yeah,
Little bit.
biggest tax rates, or biggest tax raises since the end of the Second World War.
Wow.
And what they haven't quite announced as yet, but I think is rather important for a lot of us, is they're also increasing the rate of dividend tax from 7.5% to 8.75%.
Of what tax?
Dividend tax. So if you're a company director and you pay yourself via dividends rather than income, PAYE, they've increased that, but they've kept that one quiet. But it's come out this morning. The other, I mean, there's a lot to be said for it. He has gone back on his word, absolutely. The thing that's caught my attention is that whatever you say about Boris, he's a clever so-and-so, because it's halfway. Think of the electoral cycle as opposed to the economics rights and wrongs. He got elected in 2019. We're in 2021. He's got to do something because of all the money spent on furlough and the NHS and everything else. And the next election isn't due until 2023. So from a political point of view, forgetting the rights and wrongs of the economics and who pays for what and what have you, from a political point of view, if you're going to have bad news, get it out now.
Yeah.
Get the pain out of the way. Nobody will remember in 2 years' time. And then in next year, they'll start giving money away. And then the year after, they'll really will give away. And then he'll get himself re-elected, partly because of the giveaways, because people have short memories, partly because he's just stolen all the thunder from Labour. So, you know, the red wall will come back.
You have to look at it and say, though, that these are proposals, aren't they? And like anything, they're leaked to get maximum attention. So whatever comes out later is slightly better than what is leaked.
Yeah. But wasn't it obvious, though, that they were going to have to get the furlough money back?
They've got to do it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they had to do something, didn't they?
Playing devil's advocate, he had his manifesto when we didn't have a pandemic.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's had to spend a lot of money to keep the country going. He's got to get it back.
Yeah.
And the only way he can get it back is, unfortunately, from us.
Well, you say that, but Scotland are going on to a 4-day week and giving everybody an income, minimum income, or that's what she's trying to do.
Yeah, but Scotland would be broke.
$1.5 billion into the health service. Where do you think that she's going to get that from?
Westminster.
Well,
The English taxpayer.
That's where she's getting that from. Let me tell you, Tony, she's not getting it from Scottish people. She's getting it from Westminster.
Yeah. Which is
Did you read that article about Glasgow at the weekend? Because there's this summit, isn't there, in a few days' time?
Yeah.
Glasgow is an absolute shit tip. There's sewage going down the streets. There's dumping stuff under bridges. It's absolutely appalling.
That's no way to talk about Celtic fans.
We're blaming Rangers fans.
Initially, may I just put a disclaimer out? We do apologise to any Scottish people out there. That'll be yourself, Jerry. And
can I just remind you that's my hometown as well?
It's the same, yeah.
Would you disagree, Lindsay?
On what?
On the
Oh,
comment
you can
Glasgow.
smell it in the air.
On the
I
comment,
don't know, I haven't seen anything about Glasgow being a shit tip. Excuse my language.
It was in the papers at the weekend.
Was it?
Oh, it was obviously true. It was in the mail.
It must be true. Was it in the mail?
It was in the mail. It must be true.
I mean, dare say there are areas in Glasgow
there are areas
that have been like that for a long, long time.
Yeah,
there are areas everywhere.
Celtic Park.
No matter where you go.
Yeah,
we were referring people to Couples to Govern in Glasgow, and it's near where I used to live. And I was saying to my mate, "Oh, you should have seen it when I was a kid. It was all sort of slums and it was deprivation and the political and all that thing." And he says, "You should see it now, Jerry. It's a hell of a lot worse than that." Really, I've got to be honest. I know you're a town and all that, but Glasgow people like myself, we do not help ourselves. We've really got this this culture of underachievement, where we're not good enough, we're not quite there. And this is like a mental state that people get into. Your least likely place where the place where you're least likely to start your own small business is Glasgow. had fewer entrepreneurs and fewer new businesses than anywhere else in the country. And it's this self-deprivation thing, you know, it's just like self-incriminating all the time. It's like mea culpa. I don't know whether they get it from the Catholics there or what, but it's like this thing that they're just not, feels as if they're just not good enough. This is one of the most difficult things at organisation and charity. This is the most difficult thing that we have to overcome. Everybody who's had something bad happen to them in their lives blame themselves. If you've anything that's happened to you in your life where you feel bad about, that's because you're blaming yourself for something which is not your fault.
Yeah. Going back to people from Glasgow having that, I think that's the same everywhere, because when the Bradford 2020 campaign was going on, pre-economic disaster in 2008, there were people who were trying to do better things in Bradford area, and there were people who were poo-pooing it, and the people who poo-pooed it the most were from Bradford.
Well,
there's sectarianism. It's the same thing that you have. Yeah, sectarianism is there.
Yeah, but I think that wherever you go, I mean, I go back to the village I grew up in Wales, and I always think, oh, it's a shithole. You know, it's worse than when I was here. I think it's always worse than when you were there or whatever. And I think that's a natural human behavior thing. It's like everybody I know who does stuff in Keighley are not really from Keighley. You know, people who want to do better things. But going back to the 4-day week, because I want to get off local areas and upsetting people from Keighley, South Glasgow, and all the rest of it. Yeah, going back to the 4-day week idea. Now, there is actually scientific study that basically people who work 4 days a week and have the 3 days off are actually more productive. And there has been research done into this, because I think Iceland did it. And it was a test case, and basically they found that productivity went up.
Was sweet.
Yeah, same we're doing 6 hours instead of 8. There's a point where we do 8 hours a day. There's a point around 6 hours where we become completely unproductive. So it's better to.
Sweden finish at 4.
Sweden do 6-hour days.
Yeah.
Is that 5 days a week, or is that?
Yeah, it's 5 days a week with 6-hour days.
So they do less hours through the week, so that'll be 30-hour weeks.
And they have 2-hour lunches, so actually they only work 4 hours.
So they do a 20-hour week.
No, that was being facetious.
Was that an attempted humor?
I used to deal with the Swedes.
All right, okay. If you just said that, no, we're back onto insulting people. Okay, let's go. We don't want to get kicked off Facebook. Okay. So what's people's thoughts on the 4-day week? Do you think it's a good idea, or would you agree with it? Would you like to do it yourself?
I'm not working an extra day for nobody. No, go on.
I think if you talk to employed people, 4-day weeks would be great.
Yeah.
Self-employed people and entrepreneurs, it's irrelevant, because you're working when the phone rings, or 7 days a week, or 6 days a week. So I think it's a two different societies, if you like.
It is true. I agree, but I think when you're self-employed, you should be doing what you love, and if you do what you love, it's a 7-day weekend. You know, because you enjoy doing it anyway, so you don't really care.
Yeah, but even when you're self-employed, there are jobs that you end up taking on, aren't there, that you're totally unaware of before you launch into doing self-employment. And when you do self-employment, you think, I love doing whatever it is, and then you suddenly realize there's the finance side, there's the marketing side, there's the sales side, there's all that stuff.
Customers.
I mean, see, I'm not like you, Tony. I like people.
Oh, I like my customers.
So I'm all right on that front. That's the bit I like, the people bit. So it's that, isn't it? But it is. I know when I went back after having my daughter, I went to 3 long days. So although I was technically classed as part-time, I did exactly the same work in terms of the quantity that I did before having her, and it was just spread over 5 days. You just get more. I think you get more organized. You're forced to get, the less time you have, you're more organized and more focused.
Yeah.
I sometimes think to myself that if I really sat down and went at it in like the first few hours of the day, I could probably get the entire day's work done in that time. You know,
it's like the day, if you work every day, like the day before you go on holiday, you get huge amounts done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
Clearing everything out the way. And I'm like you, Gareth. I can get up early in the morning and do all the work before, when I was working with people in offices and stuff. I get everything done within 2 hours of going to the office, because before everybody else came in, because when they come in, there's too many distractions, people asking you for this, that, and the other, and you can't get anything done.
Yeah. And the phone going and all the rest of it.
Yeah. So
it's interesting, isn't it? So maybe
I agree with Pamela. I think if you're self-employed, you do whatever it takes to get the job done. You know, yesterday I was working from 6:30 till 4 o'clock, non-stop, no breaks.
Yeah.
But the job needed doing, so I did it.
I think it comes back to what you were saying earlier. The scary thing is that it will end up being the public sector working 4 days.
Yeah.
And private sector working 5 or 6. Two-tier system.
All this thing about the frontline staff, you know, and they only ever, certainly down in Cornwall, the only noise with frontline staff was always NHS, NHS, NHS. What about delivery drivers and people that stack the shelves in the supermarket and bus drivers and everything else? But none of those private sector people ever got bloody looking. You know, it was all the god of the NHS.
Yeah. It's and the NHS got discounts at the supermarkets and all the rest of it. And you're right, delivery drivers and everybody who kept basically
going
shelves and stuff didn't get a look in. Yeah.
Lucky to have a job at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yes, it's I'm not going to get on the NHS and the whole making sure they're not overwhelmed and stuff, because my opinions will probably go down like a lead brick. So
on Facebook, you're not allowed an opinion.
I know, yeah, I'll keep them to myself. Sorry, Facebook. We must buy Zuckerberg's products. Must shop on Amazon. Anyway.
And the bad news with the NHS again is if you give people money without reform and management structure, you know, it's like the Labour government of Blair and Brown. They spent billions on the NHS, and we ended up with 27 extra layers of management and nothing for the front line.
Yeah.
Sweden operates a system where it's €10 to go to A&E, which is actually very effective because it means people don't go to A&E unless it's the right place to go. And what's €10?
Yeah,
it's
a coffee.
Unfortunately,
there was a program a few years ago where they had, I think he was called Sir Jerry Robinson, and he went to Rotherham Hospital, and he obviously isn't public sector, so he approached it like a private sector individual would. Managed to make massive costs, really simple things, like if it's a small operation that takes half an hour, rather than having one of those over a day for 5 days, you can actually have them all on one day. So it was all efficiencies in this. Saved a lot of money, waiting lists down. And then it was almost like a social experiment. It never got rolled out. It never went any further. And you think that's what the NHS need themselves, from not just to like bash the NHS, but actually the people within it. The more efficient you make it, the less stressful your job becomes. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And like Gareth was saying, the problem with any political party is they're all playing the 4-year game. There's no long-term plan. It literally is, what can we achieve in this 4 years to then get re-elected? And that none of this stuff is going to work just by having a quick, I don't know, cash and grab or whatever it's called, by going, right, well, we'll promise them something great, we'll give them a bit of bad news, then we'll promise them something great. That's not going to build a long-term solution to any of this, unfortunately.
No. Right, it's past, so we're going to have to stop there. So thank you very much. Say goodbye to Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook. If we're still on.